Howdy, Ken Nelson here. Welcome to my kitchen. I've been reading a lot about molecular gastronomy lately, and it's kind of an interesting topic because they do all sorts of things that are unusual in the cooking world. Um, One of the most simple things to do is using agar or gelatin, mixing it with a liquid, and then putting it through a syringe or a squeeze bottle, dropping the fluid into cold vegetable oil, which makes little pearls or little caviar. There are some other techniques, but this is one of the simplest ones, and it's one I'd like to share with you this morning. I'm interested in making some Eggs Benedict, and to do that, one needs to have hollandaise, one needs to have English muffins, and you need to have poached eggs. So I thought I'll do a video on making hot sauce caviar or pearls. Each one of these will be a video culminating in making Eggs Benedict. Join me. Weighing your ingredients is very important here. And I'm going to use hot sauce, and I'm going to use 50 grams of this. So I've set my scale. Oops. Let's take the lid off here. It'll take a lot of drips before we get to 50 grams. There we go. 50 grams, and we're going to multiply this times 2%, which is the quantity of agar that will be needed to make this sauce solidify or gel. And 2% equals 1 gram. The beauty about grams is that math is very simple. So 50 times 0.2 equals 1 gram. And actually, I'm going to tear this to 0 because it's easier to measure a gram once you've already got some weight. So that's 12.5, and this should go to 13.5, which is their 1 gram. So now we can put this into a saucepan and heat it. So I'm adding my hot sauce to a pan. I've added my agar. I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of lemon juice because this mixture is going to be brought to a boil. Agar likes to melt at 212 degrees. And living at 8,500 feet of elevation is very hard to achieve that temperature. So I'm going to have to bring this to a boil. Here we'll get about 202 degrees, and I'm going to have to stir it, and while I'm stirring it, it's going to lose moisture. So the lemon juice adds to the volume of the liquid so that when it evaporates, we still have enough fluid for it to dissolve and mix well. So I'm going to stir my sauce here and get the agar into the sauce so it's not setting just on the top. Because this is such a small quantity, it's not going to take much to boil. The way to check this, and I'm not sure if I can show this on my camera or not, but once it starts to boil, I'll pick the pan up once in a while and turn the bottom from one side to the other. And what I'm checking for are little clear grains of gelatin, or agar in this case, that have not dissolved. When agar starts to hydrate, it soaks up water or moisture, and then it needs to break down and kind of integrate itself into the liquid. Like I mentioned, with the altitude, it's hard to achieve the temperature that one gets at sea level. And at this altitude, we're lucky to get to about 202 degrees to create a boil. So things have to be adjusted a little bit. My sauce is boiling, and I'm whisking the whole time just because that helps to incorporate the particles of agar. And there are little clear particles that are visible in the sauce. I'm not sure that they're visible on the camera, but I can see them here, so I'm going to continue heating and stirring. This will take upwards of 6 or 7 minutes to dissolve the agar fully into our hot sauce. Okay, I have been stirring this and keeping it over the burner to get it to stay really warm. And when I turn the sauce, I am no longer seeing any little clear particles in there. This would indicate that the agar has combined with the liquid and is now thoroughly dissolved. So let's go on to the next step. I have a syringe here which I use for basting turkeys with and injecting them with salt water. And so now I'm going to pour my hot sauce into the syringe. And get every little drop that I can get out of here. Okay, now this has to be kind of put together and turned in place, and just like in all the medical docudramas you see, you need to turn the syringe upside down and squeeze all of the air out of it. Now that the syringe is loaded, I have a Tupperware container with vegetable oil that has been refrigerated overnight so the oil is nice and cold. And I'm going to drop droplets of hot sauce into this oil from 3 or 4 inches above the surface, and what will happen is the agar will chill and contract and leave me with little dots or buttons or pearls or caviar or whatever you'd like to call them that will have a tendency to chill and drop to the bottom. If they're not dropping as readily as you'd like, you can always use a fork or a probe, something to stir the mixture around a little bit and get them to drop from the surface. The surface tension is enough to keep them held on the top because they're not terribly big. They're just small. And these are meant as a decoration to go on top of the hollandaise sauce for our Eggs Benedict, and they'll add a slight flavor when you bite them of a small dilute amount of Tabasco, which is a nice addition, and they'll be colorful and bright and taste good, along with being pretty to look at. So that's basically how one makes caviar or little pearls of different flavors. I have made this with espresso to use for chocolate dishes. You can use most any kind of liquid. Apple juice works nicely. Pomegranate is very pretty to add to salad. This works nicely on top of fish. So would lemon juice or just about anything you can think of. So now I'm going to stir these just a little more because I'd like for them to totally chill and drop to the bottom. That way I know they're cold enough and won't clump together especially. And now I'm going to fill a Tupperware container with cold water so we can rinse them in, which is right there. And to get them out of the oil, I'm going to use a very small sieve and just pour the oil through the sieve. This will go back into the refrigerator and wait the next batch of caviar or pearls that I make. Okay, now rinse these in water, and that way it gets the oil, the excess oils loose. And now I'm going to strain the water out and collect my little pearls or hot sauce caviar, whatever you'd like to call them. Okay, now I'll store these in a little Tupperware container in the refrigerator, and they can easily be stored for several days to a week and do just fine, but they need to be chilled and kept cold. So I've just finished emptying my little sieve into this container, and this is 2 times of making hot sauce pearls or caviar, and this is what they look like. I'll now put the top on and put this in the refrigerator so that they're ready to go for when I need to dress a food item. The library, our local county library, has access to many books on molecular gastronomy, and I've gotten 2 of them from the library showing me how to do a variety of things. But this one I particularly like. I've made espresso caviar to go on chocolate mousse. I've made lemon juice caviar to go on top of salmon when I've cooked it. There are lots of things. If you have a liquid and you have some agar, there are lots of things that you can do. And while these are pretty, they do have flavor as well. So I hope you'll give this a try and check out some of the books at your local library and have fun. Bye.